and this is Unsigned, the show that spotlights unsigned and independent artists as they live their musical life. Meet our next guest. My guest today is Justin Johnson, who is about to take the stage and perform two pieces, Ramble on La Ramba and Sneaky Sneaky. Justin, how did you come up with the song Sneaky Sneaky?
Well, Nikki, who's my girlfriend and life partner and producer and co-writes a lot of the songs, and we kind of have certain feels that really appeal to us, and one of the feels that we keep coming back to is sort of exactly that, sort of a sneaky feeling, sort of a feeling of someone creeping around. And La Rambla is a street in Spain where a lot of performers and vendors are, and it's just that feeling of being out and performing and rambling around in a sort of playful way. And I think the song gives that feeling and kind of makes you want to dance around and just smile on your face. So.
Now, have you been to Spain, or are your family from Spain?
I haven't. Nikki's been, and I'm really jealous of her stories about being there in Barcelona, and we plan on going there one day, and I'd really love to see it. And I think that's also part of the appeal of it, when it's just an idea before you even see the place. So I think about that when I play it. It kind of helps me feel the song.
Yeah, that would be a nice trip for both of y'all to take.
Absolutely.
So, how long have you been playing music?
I guess for about 15 or 16 years. I started playing the trumpet in middle school, and my grandpa was a trumpet instructor and a band director his whole life, and kind of, I guess, I don't know if I even picked the trumpet up because of that, or if it was just maybe a feeling that it felt right to me. And then it wasn't until high school that I picked the guitar up, and once I started playing the guitar, I knew that was the instrument for me.
So were you self-taught?
I was self-taught mostly, and then in college I minored in jazz guitar at UNCW in Wilmington. That was the only instruction I've had, and the rest has been picked up through different sources online. Watched a lot of YouTube to learn different techniques, and that's really helpful.
That is, yeah. So you also have a couple of albums out. Tell me about how many albums have you created in your career, and what albums do you have out right now?
I've had a lot of albums and different recording experiences with other groups, and when I moved up here to Chapel Hill, to this area, to be with Nikki, I started fresh as a solo artist, and the first album I came out with was recorded at home in a combination of live recordings, and that was put out as my first album, and then an album of original material was put out after that, and that was just a mix of different styles, different influences, and then we just came out with a new concept series of albums called Stream of Consciousness, Explorations on Guitar, which is freely improvised. We set the home studio up and then press record, and I make up music throughout the whole night, and it sort of blends together as almost one long piece of music, which we find really interesting. And sometimes certain things happen that normally wouldn't happen with planned out music that's surprising and fun. And the next album, I'm working with Todd Fitch, who's recording my show tonight too, and works with several great artists in the area. He owns Sound Shop Mobile Recording, and he'll be recording the next album with Nikki and I. Sort of gypsy jazz mixed with blues and bluegrass. It's got that sort of sneaky feeling on a lot of the songs I was talking about.
Now, you talked about Nikki being the love of your life and your lifelong partner.
Absolutely.
Do you remember the first song that you made where Nikki was your sole inspiration?
Since I met her, it's been every song, and even the songs that I played before, I really didn't think about them the same way. And I remember when I first started visiting her up here when I lived in Wilmington. She lived in Saxapahaw, which is just south of Chapel Hill. And I remember before, when I'd sit at home and practice guitar, I'd practice scales and exercises, and when I'd be playing there, it'd be more felt more like music and not just technique. And I think that was the main difference. It felt inspired.
Beautiful. So beautiful. So Nikki's definitely the one, huh?
Absolutely.
Oh, that is wonderful. Tell me about your grandfather who taught you how to play the trumpet.
He was he actually never taught me, but I felt maybe a connection with the lineage of maybe that's something that he obviously connected with and made into a passion in his life and his profession in a different ways as a band director. And he was in the Army band for a long time in World War II. And I guess it's my dad played the saxophone for a little while, but never really picked it up as a passion. So I guess it's just one of those things where I feel like maybe there's that link. My mom's been a DJ for a long time, and she gave me a lot of my first music equipment. Was equipment that she had stopped using after getting new equipment, and that helped out. I got to listen to a lot of her CDs. I'd always take CDs out of her CD binders for DJing, and so that was she was always really supportive of me playing music, and that was really helpful.
Wonderful. Now, do you foresee yourself anytime in the future ever going back to the trumpet on one of your songs, or playing the trumpet on one of your songs?
I've thought about it, and it's definitely something that I've considered and might pick back up in the future. And a lot of it has to do with building up your muscles, and that would be starting from the ground up again. But it would definitely, I always like muted trumpet a lot. I think it's too loud to practice in apartments and that kind of thing. So now that I live in a house with Nikki, I think I might be able to pick it up sometime.
Yeah, I think you should go for it, definitely, definitely. What would you say are your musical goals for the future?
Again, that's another thing Nikki and I talk a lot about. She's my manager and produces a lot of the albums, and even though she doesn't play anything, she's got, I feel like, a much better ear than I do for a lot of things, and we talk a lot about the images and a lot about the way that instrumental music can communicate. And so one of the things we talked about as a goal that we're both really interested in is working in film and scoring film, and the way that music can make an image mean a lot more with just the sounds that it evokes. So that's something we're really interested in.
What is some advice that you would give to aspiring artists?
A lot of, especially today, it seems like a lot of kids are really into the image and the idea of being a musician or a rock star or something more than they are maybe passionate about the musical side of it. And I guess if I would give any advice, it would be that music is such a special thing, it's such a meaningful way to communicate that I feel like if that's the goal that someone has, then they're going in a much better direction than someone who might just be in it for maybe an egotistical reason or something along those lines. So I think if it means something to you, you should find what's meaningful about it and really follow that path.
Finish this statement. Music is
beautiful. First thing that comes to mind, and powerful. I've heard of a friend of mine, Randy, who I used to play with, an image that story that he told that meant a lot to me was when his grandpa was sick. His grandpa was a really good harmonica player that when he was in the hospital, I think a few days before he passed away, he would be in a lot of pain, but when someone would put music on, everything he'd calm down. He would seem like he was in a much more peaceful place. And it's like the Bob Marley line, when one good thing about music is when it hits you, feel no pain. And I always like that. It's very powerful.
Finish this statement. Without music, I would.
Without music, I would just have a lot of figuring out to do. I don't know.
Don't we all? Thank you, Justin, for the interview.
Thank you.
Now, the next person you're going to meet is Justin's love of his life, Nikki. I'm here with Justin's life partner, producer, and manager, Nikki. Hi Nikki, thank you for being on the show.
Thank you so much for having us.
Well, tell me the first time that you laid eyes on Justin and how you knew he was the one.
I had neighbors in Saxonhall that had been friends of his and neighbors of his previously, and they encouraged me to come out with them to a show he was performing in Winston-Salem, and we started talking that evening, and on the telephone ended up talking for hours and losing track of time, and just never ran out of things to talk about, and been together ever since, actually.
Now, Justin mentioned that you were the inspiration of a lot of his songs. Do you have a particularly favorite song that he made and why it is your favorite?
My favorite currently is Sneaky Sneaky, because I really like the effects that he uses, and he has a wah-wah pedal that I got for him for Christmas this year, and he uses that on that one. It has a real creepy kind of eerie Pink Panther kind of vibe, a sneaky vibe, and I get to name them usually, so I named that one Sneaky Sneaky.
So you named that for him?
I named most of them, yeah.
Wow. Now tell me about your role as producer. What do you do as manager and producer of Justin's career?
I'm pretty much learning as I go, because this isn't something that I was doing before we met, so I just kind of fill in the gaps. You know, as an artist, he kind of needs help with the organization and contacting people and keeping in touch, you know, like getting in touch with you guys and, you know, letting you guys know who he is and what he does, and keeping up with a schedule that people can always find him performing locally, coming up with ideas of how to present his material and what he does in a way that's exciting to people and always new.
Do you have any resources or tools that you normally use, like on an everyday management basis of Justin's career, that might be helpful to some of the viewers who are trying to produce and manage different artists?
I really use Reverb Nation a lot to organize all of the information, so it has, you know, his bio and songs and videos and all of that on there, and then I use Facebook to keep up with people in a more interactive way. So the Reverb Nation website has the whole show schedule and all of that, you know, kind of in a stationary way, and then the Facebook is a more interactive option.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, Nikki, for being on the show, and we look forward to seeing Justin perform.
Oh, thank you so much.
This next one's an original. This one's called Ramble on the Ramble. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
I'm here with Howard and Eva from Chatham County, and we just heard Rumble on La Rumbla. Did that song take you guys down memory lane?
A little bit.
I think it takes me back to the late 1960s, early 70s when I was in college and could see musicians like this playing their hearts out, doing something from the very depths. I mean, it's very wonderful. Justin's very talented and the music is inspirational. It's good.
Thank you.
This next one's called Sneaky Sneaky.
we just heard Justin Johnson perform Sneaky Sneaky. Melissa, what did you think?
I thought it was great. I think the tiki torches really set it off.
Yes. Thank you for your feedback.
I have those too, but
Hi, I'm here with Tom Maxwell, a multi-platinum recording artist who is here to record with Justin Johnson. Tom, tell me how you and Justin got together to collaborate on this song.
Hey Dilcy, well, I was visiting my friends in Saxpahal at the general store, and Justin was playing. And he came up in between sets and said, would you mind sitting in with me? And I said, well, I'm not much at sitting in, but I have some songs if you want to play them. And we got up, and I got up there and I played 6 or 7 songs, none of which he'd ever heard before, and he just killed it. He's one of those kind of players.
Wow.
And I was really impressed.
Yeah.
So I stayed in touch with him, and then one time I was playing in Durham, and we just asked him to come up. You know, he came up on stage, and again, we were just throwing stuff at him that he hadn't heard before, and he's got it.
Talk about seizing the day and helping an aspiring artist. That is commendable. That's wonderful.
Well, you know, good players are good players.
Right.
You know, and he's a really sweet guy, and he's just a phenomenal musician, so it's really fun to play with him.
Well, tell me about this first song that you're going to be playing today.
This song is called Jacob Marley, and it sounds kind of like the stuff I used to write when I was in the Squirrel Nut Zippers. It's sort of a kind of a pre-war jazz kind of song, and it's about the character in Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol. You know, the ghost of Marley, who was Scrooge's business partner, who comes in and tells Scrooge to straighten up, basically. And I kind of feel I kind of feel sometimes like I want to be Jacob Marley too. I just think there's just too much greed in the world now.
Absolutely.
And these are tough times.
Yeah, right.
And so, you know, Marley needs to come back, you know.
And get rid of all these Scrooges out here who are holding on to the money.
Yes, ma'am. Administer a dope slap from beyond the grave.
I hear that. I hear that.
But until he does, I'll do it with a guitar.
Okay.
And then you can hear Justin, you know, killing it.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Now, I want you to give some advice to young and aspiring artists out here and tell them how they can get where you are at today, what they can do. Words of wisdom from Tom.
Okay, here's some words of wisdom for aspiring artists. Have the right definition of success. So I was in a band that at one time was selling 30,000 CDs a week, and I did Leno and Letterman and all that stuff, and that was fun. And photo sessions are fun, and good reviews are fun. This is not success. If you want to be a successful artist, you need to commit yourself to what you do, and you need to try to be the best that you can be and not worry about how you're perceived. That is what it means to be successful. And other than that, just go forth with confidence. You'll be okay. It also wouldn't hurt to go to law school.
Which I did.
And now look where it got you.
That's beautiful.
I went to the law school of hard knocks.
That's beautiful. Now we will see Tom and Justin perform Jacob Marley.
There's a steady trail down the children to talk about our business, but he won't come back again. It's hard times, yes, it's a hard time when you leave me, but you didn't show.